Y'all, tell me why I just found out that Jaxn may not be getting anything in this doggone divorce, which would mean this was all for nothing. Is y'all ready to joust this right quick? Because this a good one. Let's joust.
Come on, Blazer.
It's the beef for me.
Wah, 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we are.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Voodoo back with a quick little joke, and we about to joke Jaxn again. Now, I thought we was through talking about her for a little while, but I just found out that Jaxn might not be getting nothing out of this divorce, and maybe Derek Jaxn was the one playing checkers, or chess for that matter, and she was over there playing Uno. Child, I was minding my business and I logged into YouTube and I saw this video from Real Talk with Yanni. If y'all don't follow her, go follow her. She's a really cool content creator, but she has shared that this attorney had did a background check on Mr. Derek Jaxn and found out a lot of tea. So, automatically my ears perked up. So I go to her page and see that she basically was reacting to another person's page, which is called Girl, Is That Legal? Now, this is an attorney who does background checks apparently on YouTube. I guess you can pay to get you a background check done or whatever. But nevertheless, she does background checks on YouTube, and she decided to do a background check on Derek Jaxn to see what this divorce is going to look like. And child, when I tell you it looks a hot mess for Miss Danae, this divorce look worse than you look sitting in this picture with this doggone bonnet. I don't know. This divorce going to be looking uglier for you than it looked when you got up there and told us you hope our words slowly go down our throat and choke us like that and whatever the hell you said. Girl, this is getting ugly. And the first thing I thought to myself was, this is what happens when, number one, you doing stuff out of spite, because she's only filing for divorce, counterfiling, saying that it's infidelity because she mad that he actually might leave this time. But then secondly, this is what happens when you be what they call him, a submissive woman to a high value man. Girl, you wasn't even checking in his finances and seeing what was going on. Now you might not get nothing. Girl, it's a lot. But anyway, I'm watching this video, and this lady said that basically when she did her background check on Derek Jaxn, he not only ain't had nothing in his name, I'm talking about the houses or the cars, but the fool owed money for tax liens and all kind of stuff, and American Express credit cards and everything. Child, you lucky if you get a quarter. But I'm going to let y'all jump into this video right quick so y'all can see what the girl has said. And I'm going to come back, in and out for my little commentary so y'all can see where I'm going with this. Because Danae, we just ought to just rename you the dummy. But let's get into it.
Great. All right. So with Mr. Derek, he's got a lot going on. But actually, before we go into that, let's take a look at her initial divorce decree. The one that she filed in 2020. Now, the divorce decree, the divorce that they're currently going through, which is in Texas, which is where I'm based, those documents are it appears that they're sealed, because I tried very hard to get access to them, and I could get the docket, I could see all of that. But when I clicked the documents, they were telling me I'm not an attorney on the case. So basically, mind my business. All right. So this is, I'm going to put on the screen the, here we go. I'm going to do it this way. The divorce docs. Very interesting to me. There we go. I'm making sure I'm showing the redacted ones. Now, you guys, the redactions here are going to be a lot lighter than usual because we know who we're talking about. So I am making sure that his now, mind you, the addresses that we're looking at and we're dealing with, he doesn't live there anymore. Right? So I still redacted them though, just because, but just know, so if you see a piece of an address, just know these are not places they live at any longer. There we go. All right. So, okay, yes. And this is the redacted version. So the main thing I wanted to draw your attention to, y'all, on this divorce is, now she specifically said, with the current divorce, what ended up happening was, she was all upset with him. She went to Colorado. After the cheating scandal correction, when they were trying to work through it, the one that we found out about in 2021, she said she packed up all her stuff. She went back home to Colorado, where she was from, brought her kids, stayed with her mother. and was there for 8 months. She had different things she required of him, including that they needed to do couples therapy, work through that. She needed to go to therapy for her personal issues as well, and that she wanted them to renew their vows. She also stated, stay with me, this is going to be very important. She stated that she had decided that Atlanta was too much. She was too tempted, blah, blah, blah. They needed a fresh start. So he did not agree to Colorado. He said he wanted them to move to Texas. All right. So this is, and then when they, basically there was an 8-month period prior to them getting back together where she wanted them to just work everything out. So this divorce petition was filed at the beginning of that 8-month period. Okay. This was filed, it looks like this was in August of, what did we say? Like 2020? Here we go. Yeah. August of 2020. Here she is. Here's what matters is interesting to me. The current divorce, he filed on irreconcilable differences, but she filed claiming infidelity. She filed claiming infidelity. Adriana, please bring up the attorney talking about the infidelity portion of that. Make sure that clip is there if it's not already. So now she's claiming infidelity, but back then in 2020, she was just saying, it was irretrievably broken, basically irreconcilable differences. Here's why it matters. Because in states like Texas and Colorado and Georgia, if you say adultery, instead of having to split things 50-50, you can get a disproportionate share. So you might be able to get 60%, 65% if you are the innocent spouse that got cheated on, right? So again, before, when she was really, trying to work on everything, it was, no adultery. Now she's going for what she wants. She said, adultery, give me more than half. All right, so they had 2 minor kids back then, one born in 18, one born in 16, blah, blah, blah. Here's the other thing I care about. This is what matters. Petitioner requests that all real and personal property be equitably divided between the parties. Okay, that means she's clearly assuming that they have real estate and that they have personal property. So usually like cars and stuff like that. Otherwise, you don't put real property if you don't own any real property, right? If you look at someone in New York City or someplace where they, in the marriage, they never own or they don't currently own any real estate, this is what you put. Number 13, she said she requests that the marital debt be equitably distributed. That was smooth, right? Because otherwise, debt is split 50-50. But here, she was a stay-at-home mom the whole marriage. In fact, she even worked for his business, helping him do his influencing business. At the height, she said he had 4 million followers across platforms. So then in 15, she says, petitioner is substantially dependent upon respondent. That's right. She's a stay-at-home mom taking care of his kids. And she states that she's dependent for her support and maintenance, and that she is entitled to receive a lump sum and or periodic alimony from the respondent on both temporary and permanent basis. Now, mind you, she filed this in Georgia. Georgia will do just that. But watch what happens when he lures her to Texas and then files in Texas. It's going to be different. It also says the respondent is in Derek should be required to pay her reasonable attorney fees, litigation on a temporary and permanent basis, blah, blah, blah. Where you file is super important, you guys. Super, super important. Texas is an at-fault state. All at fault, meaning the person who is the cheater, basically will be in trouble. California is not at fault. That's probably because in California they nasty and they do it to whoever and whatever. So in California, they don't care if it's his fault. In Georgia, it appears here that that might be at fault too. I'm not sure. So anyway, this is the petition. So remember, she says she wants half of the real estate and the personal property. Now, note, in the interview, she also talked about how she didn't know anything. She was a stay-at-home mom. He controlled the money. He worked. He did all of that. She wasn't even involved initially in his business. She started to help due to the fact that, she wanted to keep tabs of what he was doing, both, at work and with his penis. So fast forward. So now let's look at what came up on the background check.
So now before we get into the background check, just looking at the prior divorce decrees or divorce filings, what we're seeing is that well, first of all, what we already knew, this isn't her first rodeo with filing these doggone divorces. But, well, to be honest, she didn't even file this one, so it don't really count. Nevertheless, when she filed for these divorces in the past and even filing for them now, she's trying to now input that, you know, it's infidelity. And that's, you know, normally what any woman should do or any person should do when they're going through a divorce, because you want to get the most out of your business arrangement that you went into. Because if people don't understand this now, you have to understand this when you getting married. It ain't got nothing to do with love, all business. So I ain't even mad at her for, you know what I'm saying, oh, infidelity. The problem I have with it is disingenuous. It's not real. You don't care that he was cheating. You was ready to take him back. He had to text you and tell you, you know what I'm saying, that he wanted a divorce. Girl, Danae listen, let me just say this. She don't know nothing about what's going on with the finances. She let him do everything. He kept her in the dark with everything. And the rest of this stuff that's about to come out, I don't know if Danae is going to see this, but if she does, girl, Molly, you in danger, girl. That's all I'm going to say. But let's get into the rest of this stuff, because now we about to figure out and find out what Derek have or don't have. You know, have and have nots. Take a look at this video.
All right, we'll go to this first. Hold on, let's go to assets. We're gonna go to assets first, because that's really before you file for divorce, you better make sure you are very clear on what assets y'all have or don't have. Make this deeper. All right, so assets. Now, during the interview, she talked a lot about their homes, their properties, da-da-da-da-da. This was the first, remember, I did a background check and I got all of their addresses, da-da-da-da, because I wanted to know, like, hey, what are they going to be fighting for? What kind of assets is it that, you know, she's anticipating? Now, mind you, they were together since 19, but he married her because of the kid. He married her not till 2018. And the first time she filed for divorce was in 2020, but now they filed again in 22. So that means only 4 years of marriage. This was the first house they lived in. Y'all, look at this. There are even better pictures here. Let me zoom in. Let's see if I can zoom in a little more. But it's a nice house. It's worth like about $615,000 now. They lived in it a few years ago, but they rented it. I was like, oh, okay, we got a little rent situation. That's okay. But for him to be making the millions allegedly from all of that, I was a little disappointed. I even checked the history to say, well, did they used to own it? No. Here is the sales information on the property. It's got grantee, grantor, you know, all the people over the years. 2013, they basically would have still been in college. So 2014, 2016, no, these are not even, it's not his LLC, it's none of the above. This is where they lived and they rented it. Next up, she talked about the condo. Well, we all know a condo is very specific. A condo is what you own. This dude had an apartment. You see this lease now? He had an apartment, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. But my point is, during the course of their marriage, you're making all of these millions. You're relying on your spouse, right, to be building equity, to be building assets with these millions that he's making from social media, according to him. And the point of this, y'all, is if you're going to allow him to control all of the money, you know he's cheating and that you may need to leave any day now, you better be damn sure what you own, what you don't own, the debts you have, right? Because you could be 50-50 responsible for the debts, even as a stay-at-home mom. And you need to especially know about your assets, because like the woman in the first segment talked about, he spent half his retirement. He spent all of his retirement. That was her portion. So you want to have assets like a home or something like that you can obtain in a divorce, because anything in that bank account, that Negro will spend. So again, this was the condo that he used to go to all the time to film that he swore he needed. And y'all, this is the big house. So she talked in the interview a lot about having the 9,000 square foot home that was so beautiful and so gorgeous. Look at it. Estimated at about $2 million. She said it was in the same neighborhood as like Offset and some of those people. So I was like, oh, okay, good, girl. 1.8 million, good. Girl, get your 50% of that. Or, you know, if a court finds infidelity, you could potentially get 65, 60, 70. You know, it just varies. And then I pulled up the ownership history. Not ever. Never. They never owned it. Never. So none of it. Never. None of this. In fact, it was in it was in Fulton County. I checked Fulton County. Look at these records. Derek Jaxn has never owned a property in Fulton County ever. I did the same thing for Forsyth County. That's the other county they lived in. He's never owned a property ever. So poor little stay-at-home mom is out here thinking, oh, okay, in this divorce, we're going to have to split assets. What assets? You don't have none. You don't have nothing. You let this man control your mind, your heart, and your future, and your kids' future, who you didn't trust. Baby, if you don't trust him with his penis, if you don't trust him with his penis, you definitely should not be trusting him with your finances. Because guess what? To cover up infidelity requires what? Coins. And if you were checking bank statements or credit card statements and so much of that, you would be able to find out where this money is going and what's happening with it. But he on purpose didn't want her to know. So bless her heart. In her divorce pleading, she is fully expecting that they have assets and they have not one. Even their cars are not paid off. Their cars are either leased or have notes on them.
Now, you know what's crazy, y'all? We just on the houses and the cars. This girl got up on that interview and said that they was living lavish, living the life of a rock star down the street from the Migos and all of them. And you ain't know y'all ain't own nothing. When you went down there and filed for divorce and put up, not refile, what do you call it? When you counterfiled for divorce and basically said you wanted to fight over assets, girl. What assets, girl? Oh my God. Danae, you big dummy. Danae, you got to be one of the dumbest broads Martin Luther King died for. I said what I said. Listen, this only gets worse. Not to mention, he doesn't have any assets. It would make me wonder what he was doing with his money. Because like old girl said, it takes a coin to cheat and hide infidelity. So we already know what he was doing. He was having a good time. But my thing is this: why would you trust him with all of y'all finances like that? Like, why would you trust him? I get it. Everything from the surface is looking good. But didn't she not say in that doggone interview that basically at one point they were in financial troubles and her cell phone got turned off? That's probably because he had a lot of issues going on the financial side. But it gets worse. I ain't going to hold y'all too long. Let me let y'all see the rest of this.
But check this out. I took it a step further. Not only have they never owned a home during the marriage, right? He can't get a home. Here's why. We did the assets, liens. This mofo literally ran up an Amex card of over $35,000. I say on hoes, although I haven't looked at the actual bill, but let's take a look. Let's just take a look here. We're going to share. Let's see. We're going to switch screens. I'm going to get you to the, here we go. This is, we're going to switch screens. Here we go. Go to the share. Y'all, if you know, Adriana, my producer, please drop Danae's Cash App on here. Seriously, I'm not being funny. Dear future wifey, he actually, in one of the captions, he put her Cash App. Let's bless her, because this is about to be a for real battle, not just on the Jesus battlefield, but in the courtroom, because this man was wasting your time and your money. All right, so I shared it here. Here's the complaint. American Express is not playing with him. They're not playing with him at all. So they are suing him. Mind you, this is 2021. Okay, this is August of 21. That means it was March when the cheating scandal came out and they were working through their marriage and all of that. So that was during all of this. Here we go. Amex is suing this fool for $33,972. He ran up the bill, ran off on the plug. Now, here we go. When you have debts like this, you can't get a car note, another car note. You better be paying cash for a bunch of stuff. But stay with me. I'm going to roll back. Here we go. Make sure it's, yeah. These, ladies and gentlemen, is a list of his liens. This fool got 7 tax liens. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 7 tax liens. And here's why tax liens are so gosh darn dangerous. And this is also why it's important that when you're dealing with a man, especially a cheater or somebody where you're like, hey, I might have to dip up on him, you need to really make sure you understand the finances and make sure that they're taken care of. You need to have access to every bank account, at least the accounts that the household bills are being paid in. And you need to know how much these bills are. If she knew how much the bills are, she would know in the 9,000 square foot house that they got to be renting it and cannot be owning it based on how the bills are being paid. Here, though, here's his liens. Y'all, he owes, and these are not like old. He owed $1,700 in 2021. This is to the state of California because he has shop Derek Jaxn where he would sell items and stuff like that. And I guess he wasn't paying you have to pay like a sales tax to each state, and California is one of them. So he owed $1,768 that year, and then at another point it was $1,783. There's another $1,700. This one that's also California, slightly different amount. Here we go. Watch this one, y'all. Look at this one. Georgia. He owes the state of Georgia. What does that say? $27,000 in back taxes. $27,000. You can't get no house with that. And then that was for, I had those documents, and he owed them another year. He owed them $5,800. Look at this. Fulton County, $5,800 in back taxes. Okay. That was for the period of 2016, the year of 2016. Look at this one though, $27,000. That was for the year of 2017. Now, yes, it was a while back, but this $27,000, well, it's no wonder he couldn't get them a house. You will not get approved for a house with an unpaid tax lien. You must satisfy it. Now, I then saw that here we are, it was 2019. You can see the date here. In 2019, he paid off the tax lien, the $27,000. Great. He paid that off. That was during the marriage, right? So maybe he was preparing, I don't know, to be able to purchase them a home together. Because as we know, a few months later, she did file for the divorce in 2020. So he satisfied that. But yeah, he still had satisfied this $33,000 to Amex. Again, that was a 2021 case. And as of now, it currently shows that it's pending. It does not show it's dismissed, which is usually what's filed when someone satisfies their debts. So somebody said, how do you make millions of dollars and can't pay off your debts? It's irresponsibility. It's irresponsibility is what it is. And again, you can't be letting these men both cheat on you and squander your money and your resources. These people got married, back in 2018? You know, houses were a lot cheaper, especially in Atlanta and other places. Not to mention, we were out here having 3% interest rates. There should be something there. Someone says, the next person I date, I will happily pay you for a background check. There should be something that should be done. But let's talk about the last move that he did, the most important move.
So not only you ain't getting no assets, ain't no assets to split. Child, it ain't no money to split neither, because he owed tax people and he owed American Express. And one thing about American Express, just like the IRS, they coming for their coin and they gonna get it. Danae, the dummy, what are you doing? Like, what did you do? Instead of watching videos to watch him sleep with other women so you can mimic it, you should have been watching the bank account and what was going on with your husband, because he owes state taxes and American Express. And if we all don't know one thing, the IRS gonna get theirs, and the state gonna get theirs, and the doggone credit card people gonna get theirs. Them people literally take you to court, like for real, like you stole from them. The credit card people I'm talking about, especially a card or a company as big as American Express, and they will have you down there garnishing your paychecks and your wages till they get their coin. This another thing, Derek, you big dummy, Derek the dummy, and Danae the dummy. You wasn't even smart enough to put all this crap in your LLC. You put it in your real name, Derek the dummy, and Danae the dummy. You got to make this make sense. Dummy Lamont and Dummy Esther is two of a kind. And at this point, it looked like they need to get back together because I don't know. But again, y'all think that's the worst. Oh no, it's more. Watch this because let me show you how he was able to manipulate her. See that? Let me tell you something. When the men talk about, oh, I want a submissive woman who just gonna shut up and don't say nothing and be a housewife and be submissive and don't say nothing, woo doo woo doo. That mean they want you to be stupid. They don't want you to be snooping around and know what's going on. But see me, I ain't like that. I got to know what's going on. Even if it ain't my money, I got to see what's going on. Girl, let's get into the rest of this video so we can get up out of here.
They think they know better than everybody. They smarter than everybody. And that's why they think they can get away with it. What he did was this. He got that girl to leave Colorado, where she had her support system, her mom and everything, not go back to Georgia, not stay in Colorado, but to come to Texas. And here's why. That's not it. There we go. Add this back. So we did the liens, we did the assets. That was the first house. That was the condo. This was the house that he, it seems, if you watch the video, it seems that when she would talk about that 9,000 square foot house, she felt like she was a homeowner. She wasn't talking about no renter. She was like, and we had this and we had that. Somebody said, why is she giving advice? She's probably telling you what not to do. Forum shopping. Here's why. Hold on. Yeah. I'm going to pull it down. Let me pull it back down. So here's why. Texas child support is in a league of its own. It is in a league of its own. Here we go. Let me copy this. Here we go. Texas child support is a league of its own because it's one of the few states that has a cap. Texas caps how much child support. That's right. They create a maximum on how much child support you could be on the hook for. There we go. Let's see it now. All right. So Texas child support versus other states. I just want to make sure I break this down for you guys because most cases, you've always lived in the same state. You don't have a choice. You can't go anywhere else. But if you are in a divorce situation or even a situation where your baby daddy lives in another state, before you decide what state you want to file in, you better get a consultation with an attorney in that state as well as one in your state. And here's why. Texas child support, like I said, is janky. Texas child support is capped at effectively at $9,200. So look at this. This is an example, assuming the man makes $50,000 per month. Okay, per month. If he makes $50,000 per month, and let's just say his monthly taxes are 5%, I put it at 10% because of the deductions on it. It could be more, but the point is it doesn't matter. And he has 3 kids. He's not even paying health insurance for the kid because he's that raggedy. Then the child support calculator for Texas says your monthly child support is $2,760. Now that's not a small amount, but the issue is when he makes $50,000 a month, that's very small compared to that. Hell, that's not enough money for you to both keep a roof over their head and pay rent because it's 3 kids, right? 2 girls and a boy. So you need 3 bedrooms. You can't get no 3-bedroom for that and have enough for food. Somebody's going to be on food stamps. Hell, I own a Section 8, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and Section 8 for next year is going to be $2,300 for that 2-bedroom and 2-bath. So even if I let her move into my little Dallas Section 8 condo, she's still going to have to get up and go to work or get her some food stamps to feed those babies. Because she can house them, but she can't feed them. Now check this out. Now, but let's compare it to, for example, California. California, same amount of money, $50,000. This is her having the kids majority of the time. Him seeing the kids only 20% of the time, which is what it is when you are the other. That's standard for the other parent. $13,678. $13,678. So he picked Texas, or she threw out Texas, and he said, oh, yeah. You're not going to convince me he didn't go and speak to an attorney to confirm and say, you know what, we're going to pick one of the few states that has it has no state income tax. So that's great. Now you won't have to worry about all those tax liens to the state of Georgia anymore. All right. But then it also has a child support cap. So literally in Texas, whether you make $50,000 per month or $9,200 a month, right? 92, what is that? 9 times 12. What is $9,200 a month? That's closer to I don't know, somebody tell me, put it in the chat. Whether you make 9,200, basically 9,200 or 50,000, your child support is set at the same. And that is because after $9,200 a month, Texas does not increase your child support if that is what he earns. I'm not saying what he pays you, but if he earns over $9,200 a month, they figure, it's Texas. You don't need that much to take care of a kid. And they say, hey, if he got to get up and go to work, so do you. But it doesn't help women like herself. She has a college degree, but she has been taking care of his kids and his business for at least the last 5 years. The other thing about Texas does not do alimony unless you've been married a minimum of 7 years. Well, part of the reason why Derek filed in October is it's reported that BET and BET Plus came to him and was offering him a TV show. And he did not want to sign the deal while in the marriage because then he'd have to give her half of his earnings, half of the money he would be receiving from the deal. So you think it wasn't just by chance? You think it was by chance that he picked Texas? Oh no, this was gamesmanship. He chose to go ahead and file before he accepted the BET contract. But guess what? Come on, everybody, put old girls, put Denia's Cash App back up here because we're gonna support Denia. Because guess what? If Denia's lawyers are able to confirm that offer was presented and on the table prior to the divorce literally being final, even though he has chosen to push it off, she can still move to get a portion of that. Why? Because it can be considered intentional underemployment. And intentional underemployment means, hey, I have this job offer and I'm choosing not to take it or not to start this job because I don't want to have to pay child support based on that income. Now, given that Texas has that cap, his child support wouldn't be any different based on that. However, alimony potentially would be. Now, we said alimony in Texas, you have to be married a minimum of 7 years. They've barely been married 5, right? So that's going to be difficult to get. However, if she's able to show things such as the fact that she was a kid's primary caregiver, she hasn't worked in years, because she was taking care of the kids according to their own agreement, she may be able to get some limited alimony for a few years to allow herself to get on her feet. Somebody said he filed in Texas for that reason. I believe so. This is, to allow him to get on her feet. Make sure you send me, again, Adriana, I don't see, let me see.
Don't cheat.
What did he file?
Yeah.
Y'all filed. He filed. Who initiated the divorce?
He filed. He's filed on October 13th, and then I counterfiled on October 25th.
Why did you counterfile?
Adultery.
What did he file?
Irreconcilable differences.
So I posted this after watching part 1 of the interview on yesterday because I already knew what was going to be in part 2. The problem that I have with Denia filing for an at-fault divorce with her basis being adultery is throughout part 1 and part 2, she tells us how she married a man whom she knew was a cheater, continued to stay in a relationship with a man whom she knew she was a cheater, and was a willing participant in this relationship. Now, Texas is an at-fault state, and if you can prove adultery as the basis for your divorce, you're entitled to a disproportionate amount of the community estate. I unfortunately don't believe that Denia should be entitled to a disproportionate amount of the community estate because I believe that this is not the basis for her divorce. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below.
So, all right, let's go down the list. When you file for divorce and you have a contested divorce, meaning like, hey, there's some things we need to tie up before we sign these papers, i.e. children or assets or things of that nature, you are actually literally in a courtroom fighting over that. When it comes to Denia, she was thinking she was living this lavish life. And from the onset it was. But what we know so far is when it comes to assets, he ain't got none. So he ain't got that to give you. He ain't got no money because he got liens and everything and can't even buy nothing. So he don't own nothing. No houses, no cars, no nothing. Now, unless she can come at him in the LLC, and maybe he was smart enough to actually get something in the LLC, I don't know, because if you was, why would you start getting all this stuff, messing up your personal credit? But that's not the end of that. It's a whole nother story for another day. My thing is, Danae, not only are you about to find out your husband ain't owned crap, you also about to find out that he in debt. He in that child, and then you also about to find out that you probably ain't even gonna get no child support, and if you will, it's gonna be very minimal because the alimony off the table because you ain't been married to him long enough. He filed in Texas, and you sit up there and say you told him let's move to Texas. I'm starting to wonder and think, did you? Was he the one said I ain't going to Colorado, but the only way we could get back together is if we go to Texas, knowing that hey, this is gonna be the best way. So when I'm ready to dip. You know what I'm saying? The thing you should have been doing, preparing for the worst. He was probably saying, when I'm ready to dip, this is going to work out in my favor because she ain't going to be able to get nothing because basically I ain't got nothing. You can't get alimony from him. You could barely get child support because Texas has that cap on it. Girl, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And it makes me wonder too, like I was saying earlier in the video, Derek Jaxn was sitting up there blowing money fast like he BMF and Rick Ross and them. You know what I'm saying? Like he Lil Meech or Big Meech for that matter, blowing money fast, and he wasn't paying your bills. He wasn't paying his bills, hell. And you want to know what he was spending his money on? The side chick. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all be sitting around here talking about, oh, the side chick is just the side. She ain't the main. She ain't the main. Girl, in this situation, I would rather be the side. I ain't got no churn by him. I ain't got to deal with none of his debts. And guess what? All the money that he wasn't using to take care of his household and his business, he was spending on the side chick. He stayed on vacation. They say he loved going to Miami. Girl, y'all can miss me with this, and I'm not bigging up side chick behavior or side chick, motions or whatever y'all want to call it. I'm just calling it how it is. And the way it is that Danae was the so-called wife, and I'm saying so-called because, yeah, y'all were married on paper, but y'all wasn't married in what the actual definition of in the Western world. But you was married on paper to this man, and you were going to probably walk away with nothing. Absolutely nothing. And guess what? He probably still kicking it with this girl. You got to know that. Girl, y'all got to be strong and y'all got to be better than this. This is getting out of hand. At the end of the day, I watch y'all praise being married. I watch y'all praise being wives. And again, ain't nothing wrong with it. Like I said, my mom and dad have been married 40 years. I've been married as well. You know what I'm saying? And I am in a long-term, really good relationship right now. So I get the wanting to be married. But it ain't always cracked up what they say it is, right? Because what them wives won't tell you, because I'm going to tell you as a prior wife, what they won't tell you is a lot of times you be going through hell and high water behind closed doors of your home. Say what I said. Now, do I think Danae deserves it? Yes. And the reason I'm going to say yes is because you knew what you were signing up for, just like Krishan and Blueface. You knew what you were signing up for before you went down there and took them vows and took that picture at the wedding like y'all really was in love, knowing good and goddamn well at the end of the reception he was going to be with that other woman. Say what I said, girl. Danae, the dummy, you have really got the dummiest dumb. Well, you and Krishan fighting for top billing right now for the dumbest broads of 2023. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all thought about this. Derek ain't got no money. Danae is a dummy. They both dummies. And yeah, they deserve each other. At this point, they might as well get back together and he might as well continue to cheat and Danae let him cheat in peace. Y'all let me know what y'all thought. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you hoes later.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.